I'm moving on to the cleanup of the back end. I know it's quite dark in there, but look at how filthy that oil tank leak has made the swinging arm. The transformation in this is going to make me look good, but it's shockingly, it's shocking. I'm going to change the rear shock. I think I've said that before. Just move around there. Yeah, it's not great. I've got one here that I've cleaned up that Rob provided. It's not been painted or anything, it's just literally been cleaned up and it looks quite nice. So yeah, changing that, swapping that rear shock out, cleaning all around this swinging arm. Gonna take the adjusters out, chain adjusters out, give them a really good clean. So what will be seconds for you, but hours for me, transformation coming up. Can't be hard to make that look better, can it? Quite a few hours later, and the replacement shock absorber is in place. Can you see it there? I've cleaned up the linkages underneath. It's not mint clean before anybody says anything, because it needs to be re-zinced, but I've cleaned up everything up as best I can. The swinging arm, as you'll remember from 2 minutes ago, was absolute disgusting, but I think I've done all right. It's quite clean now. It needs vapor blasting really, but it is not a restoration, it is a recommission. So hopefully chain adjusters all cleaned up. I'll just go around the front. It's not perfect, I know, but it is a lot cleaner. There's the shock. Right, onto the engine. Well, this is as far away as it gets, so it's all uphill from now on. So the rear shock is in. There you go. Swinging arms all cleaned up as best I can. These are just my wets and wheels off my track bike. Forks are looking better. Front end's all cleaned up. All that loom there and everything else is clean. Battery box is all clean. Tanks are clean. So yeah, this is the furthest point of the bike, but it's not that far from getting back to a complete bike, believe it or not. I know it doesn't look it, but the engine will be built tonight. Engine back in this week, maybe early next week. And literally then it's a matter of tyres on the wheels and building everything else up. So not as far as it looks, believe it or not. Okay, so you'll notice the engine is back in the bike. It's quite clean. Exhaust pipes are on. Gear linkage. All the carbs are back on again. There we are. Radiator's on. It's not easy to see in here now. So I've just got my wets off my track bike in at the moment, just so I can roll around. Power valves are all rigged up there. Down there. So where I'm at is today's little exercise is going to be finishing the brakes off. Well, sorry, not finishing the brakes off, getting the brakes reinstated. Because I put all the pipes on, the right hand footrest hanger is in, cleaned up. I know it doesn't look cleaned up, but it's a lot better than it was. Obviously, no vapor blasting But little things like these clips, they were just pure rust. So now they're looking a bit better. I've rebuilt the master cylinder, all seems fine. Well, find out properly when the fluid's in. So now it's brakes. And here they are, the 3 calipers. So the rear caliper's got a bit of oil on it. The rear caliper's rebuilt. Front calipers have been stripped and rebuilt. Everything cleaned up. Looking okay. Not mint, but in keeping. A few little brackets, that's for the rear brake hose. And I've cleaned the front hoses up. I just need to clean up this union for the rear hose. Clean up that end as well, and then that's it to go on. So watch this space. Morning. Well, we're back at the squash club where it all started with this RGV250 SP. So I brought it down to these beautiful surroundings again. It makes a lovely backdrop for filming, so the bike's in its naked form before I put all the plastics on. So I thought I'd show you around what's been done with the bike and what I've achieved and see where we're at with it. And we might even have a little start up. How about that? Well, here she is. No clothes on. Sorry about the wind again. Always a bit windy down here. Anyway, hopefully the bike is looking a margin better than when we first introduced it down here at the club. The first thing you can probably notice, the main thing is how clean it is. The swinging arm, if you remember, was absolutely caked in 2-stroke oil that had dripped. I think it had come out of the bottom hose, because the bottom hose was disgusting, and all over the swinging arm there. It was black. It was underneath, all over the expansion chambers. It was absolutely everywhere inside the swinging arm. So I've had a really good deep clean. So we'll start at the outset. The main thing you'll probably notice is the wheels. I could not leave. We wanted, as I've said from the start, we're going for patina on this bike, keeping it original. So keeping the processes down, no paint work, just clean up what we've got, clean up all plastics. But the wheels were beyond patina. Virtually most of the paint was either flaking off or was about to come off. So if we go close in, I mean, the catalyst for it was obviously the wheels, but I've only rattle canned them. I didn't want to go down the powder coat road because it's too thick sometimes. Depends who you get to powder coat them. Obviously the bike needed tyres, so we've gone for the, I don't know if you can see that, the Bridgestone Batlax S22s. They're a real reasonably priced tyre and a lot better than what was originally on the bike. Now I said the bike was naked, but obviously the mudguard's on it, and the reason for that is you can't get the mudguard on with the front wheel in place. So you have to fit the mudguard, otherwise you're taking the wheel in and out. So one of the only bits of, well, it is the only piece of something that's been cleaned up like I would do in a restoration, are the fork bottoms. You'll see in a previous video I stripped the forks and took the fork bottoms off, which was the first time I'd ever done that. So it was a good little experiment for me and good for the bike. But obviously they look really good now. There's a little bit of dirt on them, a bit of cobwebs. So they've been done. The forks have been re-chromed. Just some residue from build. Forks have been re-chromed, new seals. These have been vapor blasted because they were rotten, but we've left stanchions. I took them to the vapor blasters to see if he could get back to silver, but he said it's too hard. So we just left them and cleaned them up. I've just cleaned the discs, cleaned every nut and bolt on the bike that I've had off has just been whizzy wheeled with a wire brush, just to clean them up. No rezinking. So we've even still got the original brake lines, the originality, all new copper washers. They were really rusty, the universal joints, so they've just been whizzy wheeled with a wire brush. Everything's just been cleaned up really. So if we move on round now to the dash, so same again, super deep clean. The switch gear came up absolutely lovely, not far from new. The left hand one's gone a bit, the yellow buttons have gone a bit, but they're still fine. I've not even touched the top yoke, literally just cleaned it. Head bearings were fine, give them a good test. So yeah, the forks, when I did them on that previous video, I just set everything to middle. So rebounds middle, preloads middle, compression dampings middle setting, so everything's just right bang in the middle, neutral. So the frame that holds the top fairing on the clocks, again, I was really tempted to paint these bits, but no, just clean them. Same with this frame, loads of rusty patina on it, just cleaned it. Even the horn, just got a whizzy wheel. That is a re-zinced Union brake banjo bolt. The only reason for that was the thread had gone on the original, so because of rust, and the outside was chipping away. So that is an original Suzuki banjo bolt, but it has been re-zinced in the past. I've got a bit of a selection and collection of bits and bobs from doing all these bikes. Radiator, literally just got a wash. So that was in really good condition. So if we move to the cylinders, and remember how covered in fug all the coolant pipes were, and the cylinder, all the power valves. So the main thing on the bike I've had to do, because the power valves were seized in, I think I said on that video that I did about the power valves, I had to drop the motor out. There's no way of getting the power valves out without taking the engine out. I just couldn't. I couldn't work. The main thing was I couldn't work under there, that far from the ground. And so some of the screws that hold the power valves in were seized, so I had to tap them round with a centre punch and put new. I put Allen key bolts in. Somebody suggested I should have put fat head Allen bolts, but I've never had an issue in all the years I've had RGVs, because I do check the power valves on bikes quite regularly. Moving back, yes, the clutch. So it's that beautiful dry clutch, the legendary dry clutch. So all I've done is taken it out, cleaned every individual plate. The steels had a little bit of surface rust on, so I've just whizzy wheeled them. We'll see how we go. If it starts playing up, it's easy enough to change. So you just take that cover off. There's Paul, the groundsman. I had to just stop the video because his tractor was noisy. But his tractor is 1968, so it's older than me. Anyway, you'll notice the sump plug looks new. It isn't new. It's genuine RGV, but it's another one I had in stock because there was a blue anodized sump plug drilled in place. So whether he's done it just for appearance or he's done some track days on it in Japan, whoever's owned this bike before, who knows. But that is original. So moving along, the pipes exhaust pipes, they've had zero paint from here. I just lightly rubbed down the front and just put some black ultra high temperature paint on just to protect them more than anything. But not gone to town, still left the patina. There's a buzzard up there, you can hear him. So, footrest hangers, as you can see, quite tarnished. Just clean them. Clean the footrests themselves. They always clean up well, but nothing's been done. I've not even taken the split pin out of the footrest hanger. I've just cleaned them up with a whizzy wheel and the spring. Stripped the master cylinder because it was seized, but actually the master cylinder itself was in good condition inside. It was just gooey, crusted brake fluid, so that's just been cleaned. Original brake line, we had to get another one of those. It is still genuine original, but the one that was on the bike was completely blocked. It might have cleared with a brake line, with a brake, sorry, not with a compressor, with an airline, but I haven't got one. It's on my list of things to get. Rear caliper, that's had a deep clean and a quick dust over with some paint, but I've left it patina really. As the same with all the disc, just cleaned it. The rear chain adjusters were really bad, manky. I had to replace one of the bolts, special bolts, but I had spares of them because the thread had gone on one of them. Yeah, painted rear wheel. I'm really pleased how they've come out just from rattle cans. So they've had a really good rub down and clean, and 2 coats of primer, 2 coats top coat, and a coat of satin gloss. No, sorry, gloss lacquer. One thing I have put in the bike is that little bracket there, which holds all the overflow pipes. That had snapped on the original bike, so that arm had snapped. Thankfully, I had a spare, so that has improved the bike better than when we got it. So yeah, then moving on to the swinging arm, yeah, you'll notice it needs a little bit more of a clean around there actually. I think that's with putting the paddock stand on. You'll notice that it's a lot cleaner. It took me hours using petrol, degreasing to get it clean. So all the back wheel was out of it. I cleaned the hugger up. That's had a deep clean and heat gun treatment, and then finished off with some wax polish. Move around to the top. The oil tanks had a deep clean, obviously. Footrest hangers up here, just cleaned. Haven't painted the plate. It really has killed me not to do this bike properly, but I think you'll agree, take a step back, it looks so good. And patina correct for the year. She's lovely and clean, it's just not too clean, not everything painted. So yes, I'm really happy how it's turned out. And it was as I've said previously, it's a real survivor, this bike. Everything was in place. The odd little bracket broken. So I was under strict orders, moving around to the back, I was under strict orders that sticker had to stay intact. That's the original manufacturer's barcode with the frame number, chassis number, and the model number. So it's an RGV250FL, a 3SH colour scheme, and there's the chassis number. The genuine small Japanese market only indicators, which is obviously correct. And there's the original toolkit on that little bag with the workshop manuals and a couple of bits of tools in there as well, which I was so pleased to find all that. So one of the main things I've done on the bike is change the rear shock. We had a spare that was in exactly the same shock, Japanese market, SP shock, but it was in much better condition, and it's literally just had a wire brush and rubbed down with Scotch-Brite. But the spring was in good nick, good order. I don't know how much we can see under there, but it's just in really much better condition. The other one was rotten, so it's still got the Japanese sticker on there, adjustment. So yeah, it's in much, you can see it's in much better order. Left hand footrest, literally just cleaned it up again. Same with the centre, with the side stand. Brand new chain of sprockets, so it's a decent DID VX chain. Probably what came on the bike, similar. This will be better because it's newer design, newer technology. It's a X-ring chain. I mean, all around here, it was disgusting. So that's all just been deep cleaned. And while the engine was out, I managed to give it a good clean all round. There was so much oil and gunk and grease and dust impregnated with oil on the engine, it was terrible. And it enabled me to clean the frame inside properly. So, sorry about the beeping, the truck's just turned up, delivery truck. So, and then if we move to the top, I spent many an hour cleaning all this wiring. I mean, I said before that having that spare fuse packet, it even took me time to clean that. So I emptied it, polished it up, cleaned inside with a little brush, degreased. Brand new battery. That's the de-restrictor box. So, okay, yeah, didn't come factory on the bike, but otherwise it's restricted to 40 horsepower. Kept all the original cable, factory cable fasteners, all facing the correct way. So they always face down. Box had a clean, I had to put a new air filter in it. You saw the carbs, not much to see really, but all inside there has had a real deep clean. And had to put new bar ends on. That was one thing the bike didn't come with, so they are brand new, I must admit. But look fairly original, not too out of place. And little brackets for the speedo cable. It's quite a complex affair really, because it screws in up there into the speedo. It has this bracket which holds it at the top and the bottom, and then there's another bracket bolted into the bottom of the fork leg which holds it away before it goes into the drive there. So they're quite an elaborate affair really, just for a speedo cable. I mean, the frame's still got lots of oxidization, but I've just rubbed it down with Scotch-Brite, cleaned it all. It's never going to be immaculate unless we've got it dipped and cerakoted. But yeah, that's it. That's the bike. I'm really pleased with how it's cleaned up. Really am. It's just the right level of patina and cleanliness. And recommissioning It's the first one I've actually recommissioned rather than restored properly. They're usually in 100,000 pieces on the bench. But yeah, I'm really pleased how she's cleaned up. So I think the next thing to do is throw the tank on and let's go for a little start up, eh? How exciting. That's it with the tank on. That is another tank we had, because the first tank was rotten and the fuel cap was completely seized in and we didn't have the key for it. So unfortunately we had to replace the tank, but it's exactly the same. It's a standard RGV SP tank. It's not in place properly yet because the rubbers aren't on down there. We had to put a new cap on it, unfortunately. So, but some things can't be helped. It is clean, it's just a little bit of grease on it. But I've used the Deoxy rust remover. You put it in, it's a litre of crystals with warm hot water, put it in the tank, seal it up, leave it overnight, and it eradicates any rust inside the tank. So the tank is actually immaculate inside now, which is really good. So let's go for a start up. Bike on. There we go. Neutral, light, oil light. Chokes on. Fuel's on reserve. Well, let's go for it. See if she'll start. I won't even use the throttle. Running. And there's that lovely dry clutch rattling away. Lovely and quiet bike. It's over, lovely on choke. See if she'll rev. I think the carburation needs setting up. It only sort of runs on 2 when you can start giving it a bit. The clutch spinning away. I think the tachometer needs setting as well, but it is still on choke. The bike just needs a good run, so I'll be doing that over the next day or two. So yep, there she is, RGV250M SP1, recommissioned. Just needs to get her clothes on now. One last rev. Turn the choke off. That's better. She might tick over, she might not. No, there we go. Ready to go. Now it's time to fit all these beauties. So we've got tailpiece, nose cone with the headlight built in, the 2 side panels and the V-piece. I've already cleaned up all the fasteners, ready to go on. So what I'm going to do is fit it all and film it all, but obviously I'll speed it up because it's going to be a long process. So I'll just do a bit of fast forwarded type film to show you all being fitted or already fitted, and hopefully we'll have a complete bike at the end of this. Looking forward to it. Happy days.